For those of you who watched my Last of Us Part 2 review, you guys know that I absolutely loved this game. Overall, sure, there were things that I didn't enjoy about the game, but overall, I thought it was absolutely incredible, an unnerving experience unlike any I've ever played, and I just really enjoyed The Last of Us Part 2. And that leads me, though, guys, to the multiplayer, because one of my biggest issues with The Last of Us Part 2 releasing when it did was that it wasn't a finished game. Even though the campaign was finished, it wasn't a finished package. That being multiplayer has still not come out yet, and there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumblings coming around about The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer. But I was very overly critical of Naughty Dog releasing the game without multiplayer, because what it does, guys, is after you beat the campaign, a lot of people just moved on to other games, myself included. After being the campaign a couple of times through, I've moved on to other games, and now The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer is kind of something of a distant memory that I didn't even realize that I totally forgot that it was even coming out. And I think that's a real problem, because you want to capitalize on all those people playing your game, and then after they're done playing the campaign, they can move right over to the multiplayer, which we didn't obviously get here. So where is the multiplayer? Where's the multiplayer of The Last of Us Part 2? We could even ask the question, where's the multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077? Because this is starting to become a recurring theme amongst these developers, which I think is a really big problem. That's a conversation for another day. But let's talk about where is the multiplayer, and will the multiplayer have a Battle Royale mode, which is what a lot of people in the community are asking themselves. Let's talk about it. In an article written by Richard Warren of Game Rant, The Last of Us 2's faction multiplayer mode is still in development, and one has to ask if it will include the most popular multiplayer today, Battle Royale. The Last of Us 2 has been out for long enough, and Naughty Dog's focus has turned to the development of the game's factions mode. The studio has been hard at work on a standalone multiplayer offering for The Last of Us 2, and with over a year put into its development, it is odd that not much official info on the multiplayer project has released. However, there may be a good reason behind this. With The Last of Us 2's factions being a full-fledged standalone release, it could safely be assumed that factions will be far larger and have much more content this time around. That new content could contain a Battle Royale offering, if only due to the genre's popularity, placing splinter groups of survivors in a massive battle for territory. A Battle Royale would be an interesting direction for The Last of Us 2 multiplayer to go in, and there are a fair number of reasons to believe it could and could not be releasing as part of the standalone factions offering. So I'll put this out here, guys. Obviously, we haven't seen anything yet, but if you were to ask me, do you think The Last of Us 2 should have a Battle Royale mode? I would say no. Not that I don't think it could be, popular. I just don't think it really works within this universe. I think games like Fortnite, obviously, games like Call of Duty make a little more sense. If you're going to have factions, that's great, because that kind of was where the origins of multiplayer for The Last of Us. But I would really like to see them even kind of add on to that, but not so much in the way of Battle Royale. I'd like them to come up with some of their own game modes, like similar, into Gears of War. I bring up Gears of War a lot, but Gears, guys, is a title that has, co-op modes where you can go up against waves and waves of enemies in Horde mode, and I think that would be really cool for The Last of Us Part 2, where you could team up with your friends and go up against waves and waves of different, clickers and all kinds of different creatures within The Last of Us world, and then you're able to set up traps and things of that nature. I think it could be really something cool in co-op, and then from a multiplayer perspective, having factions and maybe having some other modes outside of that. I just don't really think Battle Royale works necessarily with The Last of Us Part 2, even though you definitely could do it. And obviously we haven't seen anything, so who knows? Maybe it could work. I just would stay away from it just because there's so many other companies and different teams that are doing Battle Royale at this point. And I don't want to see it get so oversaturated. So why a Last of Us Battle Royale is unlikely. While the concept of Battle Royale set in the Last of Us universe is a tantalizing idea, the reality is that there is nothing to suggest that such a mode is being developed. While more The Last of Us content is on the way, a Battle Royale mode is not necessarily something that is going to happen. No evidence regarding the development of such a mode has come about despite several leaks, and it would be quite a leap for Naughty Dog to make if such a mode were to be released. After all, the original factions mode in the first Last of Us game consisted of 4v4 gameplay with fairly small maps centered on small coordinate team fights, with even the smallest Battle Royale modes, games having dozens of players on the map at a single time. The creation of such a mode would be a very different experience for Naughty Dog. So I do agree with that, to say the least. They kind of continue onwards with that, but I agree. But for me, it's more just, I don't think it really fits really great in this world. But like I said, we haven't seen, so maybe I'd be wrong. Maybe it would work out great. I don't know. Now, why it could happen, while there's no evidence behind a Battle Royale mode being made for The Last of Us 2, the concept should not be counted out entirely. Out of all the reasons to expect a Battle Royale when The Last of Us 2 multiplayer arrives, the most obvious is one of the most logical. Battle Royales are one of the most popular genres in gaming today, generating incredible amounts of revenue for the developers and publishers behind them. Capitalizing on that popularity while the genre is still hot makes perfect sense from a business standpoint, and beyond that, a Battle Royale mode is sure to please a large audience of gamers. With even a horror game like Resident Evil 8 supposedly getting a Battle Royale, it is hard to think of reasons for Naughty Dog to avoid the genre. And look, I agree with that sentiment. I do. I get what they're saying here. I just, I would like them to come up with some other creative ideas, outside of just, even Battle Royale. I think one thing that would be really great is to make the multiplayer 100% free to play for everybody, make factions free, or whatever modes they decide to bring out, make them free to play so that everybody can try them out. And that way you don't necessarily have to feel like you need to do a Battle Royale and make it free to play. I just think that to me, if I were doing it, Battle Royale does make sense from a business perspective because Battle Royale is still hot to this day. I just think this is an opportunity, since The Last of Us has tried over time now with the first 2 games. They've tried to be different in a number of ways. They don't always go with what's trendy or what's popular. They kind of do things a little bit different. I would like to see that translate here to the multiplayer. And with that, guys, what exactly could The Last of Us Battle Royale, what could it look like? A potential Battle Royale mode is one of the reasons that factions being separate from single player could be a good thing, as it allows for Naughty Dog to really sink its teeth into making the mode something special. One thing that works in favor of The Last of Us Battle Royale is that the series has mechanics that are inherently good for a Battle Royale mode. From crafting and looting to melee combat options, surviving against other players in a massive factions match seems like a logical leap for Naughty Dog to make. Incorporating features like Listen mode would only add to the experience, and the post-apocalyptic version of Seattle explored by Ellie and Abby would be a perfect Battle Royale map full of variety. And I agree. I mean, it would be kind of cool. Like, the crafting and such makes sense, guys. Being able to open up or find different things on the map, whether that would be being able to hear enemies and, use different, have different loot boxes and things of that nature within, of course, the Battle Royale, not necessarily, in microtransactions. But I just think, having like Listen mode that you can get from a loot box that's within the world, and different weapons and such, where you're crafting and everything, I think that would be really, it could be really cool. I would just kind of like it to be its own mode, not necessarily a Battle Royale, but I get why people would be interested in that, to say the least. But look, at the end of the day, guys, Factions mode for Last of Us 2 is currently in development. And that's the biggest thing here, is that we're going to be getting multiplayer at some point or another. It's hard to say exactly when we're going to get it. I'm hoping we would get it, if not 2021, hopefully 2022. Because the longer that it goes, the more it's going to be out of people's minds, and people are going to be playing other games and things of that nature. And that's why I had such a problem with them not releasing the game fully as it was intended, with single player, multiplayer, and maybe even some co-op modes. But look, at the end of the day, guys, I'm excited about the multiplayer. I'm excited to get, once we start hearing more information, it'll start to get my excitement going, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. Let me know though, guys, where do you guys think The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer is? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more The Last of Us Part 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.